Okay. Oh, I think. Okay, you guys can see my screen though, yes? Excellent. Okay. So I went ahead, today we're going to work in DocuSign and see how we are going to take our documents that we created in Command and sent over to DocuSign. And then we're going to go into DocuSign and we're going to show where we would fill those out. And then the next step after we fill them out, the next step is creating an envelope so that we can send them out to our clients so that they can initial and sign where appropriate. So we're going to walk through that. I wanted to make sure that we kind of had a real example to work from. So I went ahead and went in and created a contact for both of my buyers, Carla and Ernesto Mendoza. So we've got Carla as the primary buyer and as the co-buyer, Ernesto here. And then I did, guys, go ahead and pull up a property. So Pam Page listed this lovely property on Campbell Street today, and that's the property that they would like to make an offer on. So I've got that 360 property view that we talk about how we will pull that when we're working with clients to show them, and then also when writing an offer for them. So I've got that here at my fingertips. Also on this particular property, there is a seller's disclosure, lead-based paint. She's got a cold weather AC inspection waiver as well. And I've downloaded those to my laptop so that we can add them in and get signatures on them. All right. Here we go. Okay, so you can see under my documents, I've gone ahead, like we've said before, and I've created my template type over here. I already went ahead and clicked the button to start a transaction in DocuSign. And if I were to click on the go to transaction, that's going to bring me into DocuSign and into the room for the transaction. So you see here that it's got Carla Mendoza listed at the top. It's got the standard documents for me to complete for this transaction. I want to take a quick moment to show you guys, I need to go ahead, in addition to the exclusive buyer agency, the brokerage documents, and the affiliated business disclosure, as well as our brochures and the sales contract, we need to add that seller's disclosure, the lead-based paint, and the cold weather addendum that she's asked for. We've got a couple different options for doing that. One option is to just go to add and upload it from my computer. And again, I said that I had done that under downloads. So I've got those really easy to access right here. And I could just select those and open them up and add them here. And then they're going to add them here listed as a document. The other option, and the reason I'm telling you this is it would be very helpful on your listings if you do end up getting a contract via .loop, where someone's emailed it to you attached as a PDF, or this is just a way that I always really enjoyed being able to add documents to a loop when we use loops. If you come over here in the upper right, guys, so we're going to take just a brief step away, and I want to show you how to email documents in so that they're automatically uploaded into the loops if you'd like. That way, the reason I'm telling you this is that way if you get an email, you don't have to download it to your computer and then upload it. You can just forward that email to DocuSign, and it's going to show up here in your inbox. So hang tight and let's walk through those steps real quick. So on the right, you're going to click on your initials on the upper right. You're going to, if you might need to say switch to rooms if you've got it to where it's where you sign directly into DocuSign. But otherwise, once you click on it, we're going to click on preferences. Once our preferences screen loads, we're going to go to inbox details. And here you're going to see what your inbound email address is. So it's defaulted mine as esadie at mail.docusign.net. Note that you can come in here and change it to be anything you would like, and it's going to let you know if that's available. I'm going to go ahead and leave mine simply as esadie at mail.docusign.net. And then you're going, okay, Elizabeth, that's great, but like, help me understand. So what you can do at that point is you can come over, and again, if it's already attached to an email, it's super easy, but then you're able to come over here and enter it as the address. and then attach whatever document it might be. And I know this might be a little bit confusing because you're like, why wouldn't you just update it? But this is super helpful when someone sends you something and you want to just quickly put it in the loop. Does that make sense? I'm going to hit send here. And so again, it's like super duper easy whenever someone has sent you something and you just want to forward it in, instead of having to download, you know, multiple documents to your account, you could just, to your computer, you can just send it over. Now, when we come over here, it does take just a moment. You've got to be patient. But where you're going to go and access those documents is under inbox. So we'll click in inbox. And again, we're going to be patient. And there you see all of these just showed up for me here. So I can click select all over here on the right. And it's going to select all the documents. And then we've got options here where we can move them, copy them, email them, combine them, download them. But we're going to say move. You can select move. And then you can say, I want to put it in one of my active rooms. And again, remember, I made that room for Carla and Ernesto. So here is my Carla buyer, and I apologize if it's confusing. I did a test and made sure everything was working properly with Ernesto, but Carla Mendoza is the room I want to put it in, which is the one we were working from. And I will just select that I want to move all over there. And then they're going to come out of my inbox, so they'll no longer be in my inbox. And then if I go back to rooms, I can select Carla Mendoza's room again, and it's going to show up under documents. So all of those documents are going to be there ready for me to add initials to and signatures to for my clients. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions from anybody? I'm going to take just a quick second and see if there's any questions. Nope. Okay, let's go back to sharing. All right. So from here, again, we have a two-step process here with DocuSign. First step is completing the documents. You're going to do that here in the Documents tab. So we're going to need to sign and fill out our exclusive buyer agency. And so I'm not going to do this in the essence of time fully, but again, we're going to add that marital status, a married person, and then greater metropolitan area. We're going to say that it's going to begin today on the 17th of February 2022. And as always, I always like to have at least 6 months to get somebody under contract. Go for longer if you can, guys. These guys were pre-approved up to 400,000. So I'm going to just include all of that in residential. I'll scroll through everything else here again. We're going to say our 3%, and then that flat fee of $395 that we're all including as a part of the coaching program. So again, we'll fill all of the rest of this out. So we'll pretend as though I have, and we'll hit save and close. Computer's like really thinking today, guys. We'll do the same thing with our residential sales contract. Come on, computer. It's cold. It's cold outside. I'm moving slow too. Okay, and then here again, I'm going to tab over to where I have our other documents so I can quickly, again, I'm going to just fill out a few of these things. So sellers. And I'm going to pretend that off the seller's disclosure, I know that he is a single person. Fill out the address for him. Again, 7935 Campbell. $64131. County's Jackson. You guys, of course, we're going to put our legal description in. We're going to fill out the rest of the contract. So let's all pretend as though I've done a really thorough job if you need to see that, we walked through that in the last training on how to complete those documents. So we'll hit save and close once you've completed the entire contract. Again, if this is where you need to go back and make a change because was not found, reopen fill form. Oh, Missouri, is it that I need to, maybe because I had a space, let's try that. Clearly there's some validation here, guys, on some of the forms and some of the fields. If there's anything, so if I'm working on this and I send it over to my clients and they say, hey, you need to change something, like we changed our mind, we wanted to put more down, or we wanted to change the price, you're going to come into documents and you're going to make those edits there. And then you can create a new envelope to send it to them for signatures. Okay. So we're always modifying our documents here if we need to do so. So we have filled out all of the things that we need to fill out. And now it's time to get signatures from our clients. Okay. This is where we're going to click on the envelopes tab. And in the envelopes tab, we are then going to say, click new to start a new envelope for them to sign from. And you get to name the envelope. I would recommend that you're naming the envelope like maybe offer for $79.35 Campbell. We then get to add our documents to these. So we can say room docs, where we can just add those that are in the room that we were just pulling from. And so it would be where we're going to say, okay, we want to do that cold waiver, the real estate contract, the brokerage, kind of everything that we've got already in the room there. We'll hit add. You also have the ability, guys, to pull from templates. So you can pull from any templates that you have and add those here if you'd like. But again, we really kind of want to manage the documents under the Documents tab. And then we want to use this Envelopes tab to assign our signatures and initials where appropriate. Okay, at this point, we're going to say Add Recipient for the envelope. And we always want to use those pre-tagged roles because that's going to associate. These templates have been, many of them have been set up. Now the seller's disclosure, we're going to have to add it to them because remember that's when a PDF that we imported in or we uploaded from our computer. And yet any of the forms that we, Keller Williams, have set up for you, we're going to have where it's going to automatically have seller one or buyer one initial in one box, buyer two initial in the other box, and signatures and such, to where you're not having to assign all of those. So it's important to go ahead and select pre-tagged roles. And here you're going to want to select buyer one. And we'll let Miss Carla be buyer one. And for buyer two, we'll have Ernesto be buyer two. And then we want to select ourselves as the buyer's agent. So I'm going to go in and select myself as the buyer's agent. And then if you want to say buyer broker, that's where you're going to add Mr. Randy Vanderpool. Not that you need that, but if you just want to be thorough. And then actually I'm going to say let's not, because we don't need him to sign anything. So let's not add him at this point. And then we aren't going to send it to the seller. So we'll go ahead and just say add selected. And it's going to populate those different folks. Now, if we have a different order in which we want to have people sign, you can move it up and move it around so that there's an order and such. And then we're going to go ahead the next. Any questions there, guys? You need to remember to pause so that everybody can ask questions if they'd like. Okay, you guys.
I have a question.
Sure.
This is Jay. Yeah. So on those boxes where it's got the ones, is that where you change, or is it just by changing the order of those? Is that where you change who signs first and who signs second?
It sounds like you've been in DocuSign. Yes, like so that would be the order in which they're going to complete it. Otherwise, they all receive it at the same time. Is my understanding. Do you know differently, Jay?
No, that's just what I remember Kyle saying on one of his videos was if you put like buyer one and buyer two, like buyer one signs first, then buyer two is number two, and then you're number three. So that way you make sure that they sign it before you actually sign it.
Yeah, it's not wanting to let me do that. So, oh, there we go.
You
No,
got
I
it right. That's
Yeah.
right there. Yeah.
There we go.
So either
So-
one of them has to sign first and then the other one has to sign. So it'll be sent to, on your scenario, buyer 2 first. They'll have to sign all the documents and then buyer 1 will sign all the documents. Then they'll automatically be sent to you. That's the way I understood it from Kyle.
Okay. And Jay, thank you for pointing that out. I think that it's important for us to note too. Otherwise, my understanding is that it goes out to everyone at the same time. What I would say, if you're going to put it in order, be sure to warn your clients, because what may very well happen in this scenario is that Ernesto's going to say, I got him and I signed everything, but Carla didn't get an email. Carla didn't get an email. Like, come on, and they're going to be anxious, or Ernesto's got it in his box and he's in the process of reviewing and signing stuff and he's going, but Carla hasn't gotten anything. Carla hasn't gotten anything. So very important that you're communicating to your clients, Ernesto, you're going to review and sign everything first, and then it's going to get sent to Carla. My understanding is if you don't have it to where you're putting any kind of an order in here, that everyone will receive it at the same time. And then Carla and Ernesto would be able to sign at the same time, and review at the same time, and sign at the same time. Where it might be beneficial is if you're on a listing and you would like one person to complete that seller's disclosure and not have conflicting versions of it, you very well would want to have one person send the document if they're completing it electronically first, fill it out, sign, and then Carla sign it second, and be in an order in that sense. Does that make sense? Okay. The other thing I would say when it comes time to send this to you guys, I know I've said it before, do not be afraid to text your clients and say, check your email. It's in your inbox, Ernesto. I need you to sign first, and then Carla's going to sign it. It'll prompt you where to sign. And then an email will be sent to Carla to sign. But texting them, it's in your inbox, go look at it. Like, even though people are excited, they also have real lives where they might be trying to make dinner, or they might be at work and in a meeting and it took you a little longer to complete the offer than you thought. And so they're not sitting in front of their inbox, and time is of the essence when you're doing offers or when you're negotiating and you're going back and forth. Staying on top of communicating with them via text message or phone call is going to make your life easier and make things more efficient and move forward quicker too. And it is perfectly acceptable to do that. And it's perfectly acceptable to text them more than once if it's been 2 hours and you still don't have signatures and you'd like to go to bed because it's getting late. So, okay, so here we're going to have where you can change the email subject of is sign offer for 7935 Campbell. And then you can enter a specific message if you'd like for your clients here. Okay, so then we're going to say this big yellow button on the upper right is our friend. So we're going to use that and click next. All right, I specifically added 2 different buyers to this document because I wanted you to be able to see. Now, again, remember this cold weather inspection waiver is one that Pam Page had put on her listing, as well as the lead-based disclosure and the seller's disclosure. So it's not one that was already populated within DocuSign templates that KW has. So we have to manually add the signature. So we're going to show that we're going to manually add the signature line for Carla, and then the date signed. So when she signs it, it's going to put the timestamp on there for us with the same date that she signed it. Now, you can also just place a date on there if you would like, but date signed, I would recommend doing it in this fashion so that it's clear exactly when they signed. And then we are going to add we've got drop-down windows. So you see you have a drop-down window here that says Carla. I would highly recommend that you go through and add all of Carla's initials and signature lines throughout the document. So here's an initial for Carla. And since there's no documents, we're not going to put anything on that top line. We're going to give them a checkbox that's going to allow them to either check here or checkbox here. And they will then come in and be able to check a box to say whether or not they want to receive the 10-day opportunity or if they've waived it. And again, we will go through and complete all of that for all of the different lines for Carla. So I'd go through and do all of Carla's initials, okay? See how this one's already pre-populated, guys? And the reason it's pre-populated is because this is one of the templates that is Keller Williams. You filled it out under documents, but then we already added all of the initial and all of the signature lines was specific to buyer 1 and buyer 2. So Carla's already been added here to all of these. I'm going to just double check that it's thorough. We have been known to have errors or something of that sort, especially when forms first come out. I think we've worked through all those kinks, but note, you just want to verify that everything is correct there, and then there's initial spot already pre-populated on all of the documents. So I'll try to go quickly through here. And then actually, I'm going to take the opportunity, guys, instead of showing you me re-adding it for a second buyer. As you can see here, we do have where we've got 3 different colors. And the reason we have 3 different colors, and it correlates directly with the people that are required to sign or initial. So Carla is the blue, buyer number 1. And then myself, the listing or the buyer's agent, is listed in yellow. So all of the fields that I need to sign are in yellow. And then all of the fields that Ernesto needs to complete are in purple. And so if I were to need to add Ernesto to like those other documents where that's not already pre-populated, I want to make sure that I have Ernesto selected here in the drop-down window on the upper left, so that a purple box is added and it'll prompt just him to sign there. Does that make sense? Okay. So we will, any questions there? And again, guys, this is not my first language. It is not something I've used probably as much as maybe even some of you have if you've gone through and made some offers. We're going to get through adding all of our initials in all of the places that we need to have someone check a box for us. You can add additional text boxes and such here. I will warn you that, and you can add custom notes if you'd like for the person to sign. So you could add a note if you'd like for Ernesto to see. You're going to add the text over here. If you would like, you can do that. So we're going to go ahead and hit okay, and I apologize. If you want to make sure that you've got it set up correctly for your client, and you can preview what it is it's going to look like for them by clicking this Recipient Preview. And then it's going to show you viewing as Ernesto. And this is what it's going to look like when he gets an email. He's going to have that yellow bar at the top that says start. And then he can click. Remember, we didn't add all of the fields for Ernesto. So it's going to say, okay, initial here, and it's going to populate it through. But you can go through and make sure that the initials are all there where they should be for each one of the buyers. Sound good? Okay. When I want to go, if I want to see what it looks like for Carla, I can also preview that. And a lot of times, guys, this is just you getting used to it, but you can say, let me go through and kind of like practice to make sure and check. One thing I want to check is if she's got an optional, so she can choose one or the other of these 2 boxes, okay? Again, since it's an optional thing, you want to make sure that they have selected one, because if not, compliance will call you out on that and you'll have to go back and get it initialed. So just again, if that's a way that you want to make sure that you've done something correctly, that would be how you would verify it. All right, and again, you can see on the computer what that preview looks like, on a tablet, and then also on the mobile device. And I need to be patient. I'm a realtor at heart. I really am. So hard to be patient. This is what it looks like for them as on a mobile device. Kind of crazy that people are signing it this way. My goodness, you can tell I've been in the business too long. So crazy. Okay, once we're done previewing, guys, there is you want to make sure, so especially if you get down here and you're scrolling through things, you're like, how do I get back to where I was before? I'm so frustrated. DocuSign's so different. Be sure to look at your bar on the right here and scroll back up to the top. You're going to have an X here in the upper right to return you back into the envelope that you were working on to send the documents over to your clients. At this point, we can hit send, and note that as soon as you hit send, it really sends it. So it's going to send it to your client. So if you were just wanting to kind of check some things out, or you're curious about what that send button is, it really does send it. And then the envelope goes out. Okay. I wanted to have the ability to show you what this looks like for your client. So hopefully this works out, guys, that it's going to load it up in my email address here. So this is what it's going to look like for the client. So Carla's going to get an email that says review documents. She can click review documents. And again, it'll be similar to that preview that we got. It's so weird not being in front of y'all and like just being on the computer because it's so quiet and I don't see anyone's faces because I'm seeing my computer screen. Okay, here it's prompting me to say that I agree to electronic records and signatures, and then I get to click continue. And then it's going to say start. It does kind of whip them through here. I don't know if you guys have ever electronically signed anything. It does whip them through pretty darn quickly. It's going to prompt her on how she wants to do her signature. She says adopt and sign, or she can click draw and draw her own if she wants to draw her own signature. And yet we can say adopt and sign, and then we're going to get started. So it's going to go ahead and whip her through here pretty quickly. So note again with that checkbox to just watch that. Once she's signed everything, she can hit finish. I'm going to just do it so that we can see how it looks on the back end. Thank you for your patience. You guys, I think this is how they really sign the documents though, which is so scary. I think people just are like, click, 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 click. So it's really good.
Yeah. Does DocuSign, that checked box, does when you're all done, if they had to check that box, would it tell you you didn't do something? Is it noticing that you need to check that box?
I said it is optional, and it's the same thing when we had .loop. Because I mean, sometimes I would ask them ahead of time. Do you guys like when that was a question I'm asking them, like, are you guys going to want to test? Go ahead.
You would check it then? You've asked them and you would go ahead and check it.
Ideally, yes. If you haven't, because like it's easy for them to miss it there. Ideally, yes, you would ask them ahead of time if they wanted to waive it or if not.
Okay.
Or if they wanted to have that
okay
10-day inspection period. Most of the time, okay. Most of the time, they're going to waive it. And then, so this is the client experience. You guys, isn't this wonderful? Okay. Then it's going to let them know that they have signed, and they can view it here. And then they should also receive an email once everybody has signed the documents. So this is what your client's portal looks like. Does that make sense? Okay, to go back to our site, guys, let's refresh here. I should have received a please sign this offer here. And you're going to click view documents and you can sign it this way. You also have the ability to sign it by clicking on the hyperlink here that says needs my signature, and you can say sign. And it's going to take me through the same thing where I'm going to just be prompted to sign where those where I pre-filled out the contract. So we're going to say continue and then start, sign, sign. I mean, look, it's not even loading. I can just, no, it just gives me heartburn. And then we're going to click finished. Okay. Okay, so then here I can again click on the envelope and it's going to say waiting for others. And that's going to show me that Carla has signed, I have signed, and we're just waiting on Ernesto. Again, another appropriate time for you to reach out to Ernesto and say, hey, I'd really like to get this in. Could you please sign that for me? Okay. Again, always look in the upper right for that X to get you back out of where you are. I should have in my email for Ernesto. Do you guys want me to refresh and see if I can just, I'm almost out of storage, the story of my life. Okay, refresh and see if I have it for Ernesto because I was using the same thing. No, okay, yes, I do. Let me see, this is for Ernesto, that was for Carla, this is for Ernesto. Do you mean to do it real quick and then we can see what it looks like whenever everybody's signed, and then we can download it and share it with the other agent. Okay, click start here. Let's get an initial, adopt and sign. How many of you guys have gone ahead and already you've been using DocuSign to complete agencies or offers with your clients? Anybody? I'm excited for all you being new because you don't even know what that bad word dot loop sounds like or looks like. Some of us tenured agents, which is what I was saying, it's been a real hard adjustment just because you use it so much when you're writing so many offers and you're negotiating so many things. Okay, we're going to click finish here. It's again going to prompt him to create a password. I have a feeling he's going to create the same password that Carla created. All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna All right, thanks, guys. Again, they could view the document here, otherwise it's going to sign them into DocuSign for them. So going back to our envelope, we can refresh here and hopefully it'll say that it's a signed document. So here it is completed. We're able to go in and then view the documents and see that they're all signed. My apologies. Let me go back over here. Let's see, I'm like super savvy in this, guys. Here we have all the signed documents then. So we're gonna, again, it would say signed if there were things that they needed to sign. But if you go back to your documents, you're gonna be able to select all of them and then download them to send over to the listing agent, or you can email them directly to the listing agent. Does that make sense? And obviously when you're sending an offer, we're not gonna send our exclusive buyer agency. We're not going to send over and we're only going to send, I'm going to take a brief second. I apologize. I was interrupted here and I'm going to just gather myself. So we only want to send the signed version of things. So we're going to send the signed version of the cold weather addendum, the lead-based paint, the sales contract, and then we're not sending our brokerage documents. So we'll select all that we need to sign and send over that are appropriate, just the contract documents. And then again, here, you can email those over to the to Pam page if we wanted to. We're not going to do that because she'd be like, this is a blank offer. Elizabeth, you have no idea what you're doing. Compliance did get back to me on my documents yesterday. They were not in compliance. And then you're going to make your little note about offer for $79.35 Campbell. And you can send an email.
Or can you download them to your computer and send an email that way? Just attach it to a normal email.
Yep.
I mean,
the same
what I did with .loop.
Yep. So the same thing, you're going to do it here where you're going to select the ones that you want to send over. Again, they're going to have that green check mark that they're signed. And then up here at the top, instead of saying emailed, you would just use this down arrow and hit download and download them to your computer. Another thing that you can do is you can say move, and you have the option to move them to a folder. And you can move them into a folder in the current room. So, and I believe that you can say, name that folder. I could be wrong. Would have had to already create the folder. Again, I apologize if you want to move them into a folder, but people will sometimes organize their documents in that way. Sound good? And then this is what it would look like to the other agent. And you've got the documents attached here because I've sent them from DocuSign to myself. And that's what it looks like. I would say that downloading it isn't a bad idea. Here are all the documents completed. I could also take this email and just forward it on to, since if I did them separately, where I had one that we did the buyer agency and I did one where we were just doing the offer, then I could forward this over to the listing agent. But again, like we talked about yesterday, it's always good to download, and it's always good to put that summary of your offer on the offer when you're sending it over, just because it makes it easier on the listing agent. Okay, does that take some of the mystery? I will tell you that Kyle Neiman is much more knowledgeable and skilled in all things DocuSign. And so I would highly suggest watching any of the videos, many videos that he has on our private Facebook pages. So please do that. And then I will get this uploaded. Any other questions I can help answer when it comes to DocuSign? All right. Well, guys, I will plan on seeing you tomorrow. Excited to talk through inspections and then the appraisal process with you all. I hope you enjoy your snow day, and we'll talk soon.
All right, bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.